Hello guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. And guys, today I'm gonna review the movie that I recently just saw. It's called Man of Steel. Now guys, if you don't know, Man of Steel is a superhero movie based on Superman's origin, and it's technically a reboot. It was released in 2013, directed by the man that brought you 300 and Watchmen, Zack Snyder. This movie stars Henry Cavill, Amy Adams, and I hope I'm saying the name right, Diane Lane, and Jonathan Foster, and it also stars Michael Shannon and Russell Crowe. Now, guys, I didn't see my Man of Steel in theaters in 2013. I just saw this movie a few hours ago on my PlayStation 3. I bought the Blu-ray disc. And my PlayStation 3 has the feature where you can basically play games, you can watch disc, Blu-ray, etc. And I saw this movie uh, a few moments ago, and I have to say, guys, I have to give my opinion on this movie. Now guys, don't worry, this is not a spoiler filled review, this is just my normal review of the movie. And actually, I have to warn you something. In this, I'm gonna talk about a few plot points in this movie. So if you're still nervous about it, please basically leave my video, go see Man of Steel, and then come back here. And obviously, this movie was released in 2013, so many years have gone by. So please go buy the DVD and see this movie and then come here. But yeah, don't worry, it's just a small portion of this video. I'm gonna talk about a few plot points. But yeah, on with the video. So basically, Man of Steel basically a retelling of Superman's origin story, which I mean, actually many people have heard about it, but if you don't know about it, basically the movie is based on a popular Superman comic book where we figure out that uh, on planet Krypton, there is basically the planet is about to basically explode. In which scientists there named Jor-El basically figures that obviously this planet is gonna be destroyed, and nobody's listening to him. He tries to convince the council that please, save us, save the planet. So basically, take the civilization of Krypton elsewhere, but they're not listening to them obviously. And in that meantime, an invasion happens pretty much. In the invasion, there's the Krypton's military leader. He pretty much says the council is disbanded, and obviously he's gonna forcefully make sure to basically take all the people with him basically. And so what happened is there's that huge action sequence in which Jor-El basically takes, I think, a device named the Codex, which pretty much uh, gives people of Krypton their energy, I think. And also this plays a point in the movie in which you figure out that Krypton is a planet where there's basically no natural uh, birth. Pretty much nobody is born there. Everybody is artificial created. So helps. This helps this process by this thing named Codex. So what happens is basically Kal-El, later known as Superman, he basically grew up. He is basically the first natural birth in centuries. He is basically sent in space and hoping he would go to planet Earth where the invasion happens. So the basic premise is Superman is basically all his life spends his time on Earth, where his real mother and father gets killed, and obviously Zod is sent to the Phantom Zone by the Council for what uh, heinous act he did on the planet. He killed tons of people. He attacked the Council, so basically he's sent to the Phantom, basically a space prison, basically, where after a million years Zod escaped. So basically it's a race against time. Will Superman grow up and be extremely powerful and save the planet that he now inhabits, or will Zod basically go to Earth and destroy all the beloved things Superman loves? And obviously Superman die? So basically that's the basic premise of plot. There's a lot of things going on in this movie. Now the thing is, guys, from what I've heard, there's a lot of complaints about this movie. From what I've heard, many people don't like this movie. Some people like it's basically 50-50 chances. Many people say this movie is basically not good because it's taking itself way too seriously. It's way too dark because Superman is a character. You didn't need to be make it dark. You need to have the Superman character be lighter. It's supposed to be funny, cheerful. There should be good environment and blah blah blah. I get that. But I think a Superman story being dark, there's nothing wrong with that. You can have a character that's basically a character that's light-hearted, that's basically different, and you make it dark. There's nothing wrong with that because the thing is, guys, many people actually say that Superman is not good character because he's way too boring, he's way too overpowered, and I get that. I get what you're trying to say. It's just Superman doesn't have. It's just my opinion, guys. Please don't take it the wrong. It's just my thing. Superman is a character. You can take it, make it wrong, and make it boring because he doesn't have anything like for his name interesting. He doesn't have that much edge to it that you can make interesting. Take Batman for example. Batman has more story going on with him because because he's a human being. You can make it more and more interesting with twisted storyline and blah blah blah. With Superman, he's basically an alien that comes from a different planet, and obviously he doesn't have that much going on for him. He's basically a child that doesn't have anything going on for him. He's not twisted. He basically is like, oh yeah, I'm in this planet and I have to grew up, I saved this man. But what people basically change him, basically, who he grows up with, what does he do? He learns on his own, and that's what I like about this movie. Basically, you see the development with Superman that he how what he wants to do. Obviously, Superman in this movie he's a little bit afraid because who wouldn't be? You have these amazing powers that nobody else has. You have super strength. You can move really fast. You can see. You have exhibition. You can see through walls, etc. You can obviously do many things that no ordinary people can have, and obviously, the thing I like about this movie, the casting choices are brilliant. We have Henry Cavill as Superman as Clark Kent. Obviously, Henry Cavill is fine. I like him in this movie. He was not obviously perfect as Superman. Obviously, I don't think he has that many good dialogue with him. He's obviously not good, better than Christopher Reeve because nobody can. Obviously, Christopher Reeve is the definitive Superman. But I think he did a fairly good job as Superman for what he was given. This movie also has Amy Adams as Lois Lane. I like it. She was basically what Lois is supposed to be. She's supposed to be a little charismatic, a little snarky. She's supposed to have a attitude. She's also supposed to be nice, calm, and I get it. She brings it to the table. She's very nice. I like Lois Lane, and obviously we have tons of character. We have Perry White in this movie as Daily Planet's I think editor. I think basically he's there. But he was funny. I like him, but he did not stay there. He's not the main character, obviously. We also have uh, I hope I'm saying his name correctly. John Costner, I think. Please correct me if I'm saying this right or not. John Costner as basically uh, uh, the father of Clark Kent, who he grew up with. Basically, John Costner as uh, what's the name? I forgot his name. Jonathan Kent. Oh, sorry, Jonathan Kent. As Jonathan Kent, he was brilliant. I like him. He was very inspirational. He's very tough father figure. We also have Diana Lane as Martha Kent. She was just there. Yes, I know that she's supposed to be the mother figure for Clark Kent, but yeah, she was just kind of there. I didn't find her that interesting. We, oh yeah, right. We also have the antagonist of this movie, Michael Shannon as Zod. Now, the thing with Zod in this movie is like Zod. I don't think he's a character that will be remembered that long time. Always, I don't think Michael Shannon's portrayal of Zod will be remembered for the longest time. He was basically a big bad guy. Obviously, he has some attitude towards himself. He's not a crazy psychotic madman. Obviously, he has plot to it. So obviously, he wants to save Krypton on his own. He wants to make sure the people that have died can live again by making Earth the new Krypton. And obviously, he's hunting for Kal-El in this movie. And obviously, you understand where Michael Shannon is coming. Is that he's not that interesting in this movie. He in some scenes he overacts a little bit. What I mean by that is he's sometimes screaming in this movie very loud, and yeah, it's pretty cartoony. But yeah, overall, Zod is not a terrible villain or not. He's not a great villain. He's middle of the road. Okay, I like his portrayal of this movie, and also General Zod has a few sidekicks which are not that memorable, except for Furiosa, who is a legit badass in this portrayal. I like Furiosa, but yeah, she was just sidekick. Then we also have Russell Crowe in this movie. He is basically Jor-El, uh, basically the real life father of Superman in this movie. He's pretty good. I like Russell Crowe, and his portrayal basically Jor-El was pretty good. I like him. He's very emotional, and yeah, the movie has a pretty good tone. Like the movie is, it's not that dark. It's pretty much middle of the road. This movie doesn't have that much charm. It's not that funny either. It's trying to be just like the Dark Knight. What I mean by that is the tone is similar to Dark Knight, but here's the thing: in the original Dark Knight, despite the movie being very complex and dark, this movie in some scenes it has its humor. In some scenes you're gonna figure it out. The original Dark Knight, despite as dark as it is, it has some humor to it. So it makes it basically has comedy. It's in its own way. In this movie, we don't have that much good comedy. It's pretty much basically a little bit dark and doesn't it just takes itself basic, which I understand, but you need to have good comedy if you're doing a Superman movie. That's what you need importantly. And obviously, the thing I also like in this movie, the cinematography, the way they shot some scenes, which are pretty good. I like the shot of when the first movie in this movie when Superman flies in the air, it looks awesome. Like it feels like you're flying. Well, I know it's CGI, but it looks pretty real. So like you're literally flying with Superman here. And yeah, here's another thing I noticed in this movie actually. Whenever, if it doesn't matter what it is, it doesn't matter if it's a plane, Superman, or any other bad guy that's flying in the air. There's gonna be a scene where the moment somebody flies, they're gonna be zooming in for a moment. Like for example, uh, it's basically like this. For example, take this. My arm is Superman. It's basically going this way, and you're gonna do this, and they're gonna zoom out. Yeah, these kind of stuff happen in this movie. A lot of that. I'm like this. I'm basically trying. I'm gonna do this, and then zoom out. This kind of scene happen. It's not that much. It's not all the time. It's sometimes, but yeah, that's one thing I noticed in this movie. I didn't mind that, but yeah, it was something I did notice. Like, why? Why are you zooming in? We can clearly see what we're focusing. You don't need to zoom in. But yeah, it's not that bad. Obviously, cinematography, brilliant. And Zack Snyder, I like Zack Snyder. I think personally, as a director, he's not. As a director, he's not terrible. Obviously, he's pretty good. I watched 300. I liked the movie. I think he's not a storyteller. He's more of a cinematographer, visual artist, where the his visuals show you the story. Where he's as a storyteller, where to write dialogue is perfect. I think. He's pretty good. I like him. Uh, the main thing in this movie is like there's action sequences which I adore because Superman is a character that needs to have action sequences because he's a character you can make characters his size and have action sequences. In this movie the action sequences were pretty good. It felt like I was watching Dragon Ball in real life, which we got in Dragon Ball Evolution, but that sucked. So, but here it looked good. Oh, it's not Dragon Ball. It's pretty much like seeing superhumans fight each other. In this movie, it's good. We have Superman fight General Zod's army. We see him fight General Zod. We see him fight Furiosa's General Zod's sidekick, and it's awesome in this movie, and I liked it. So, the score in this movie, also I forgot to mention the score in this movie, Hans Zimmer, brilliant score. It felt like it's not. I oh sorry, it did feel like Superman, but it was extremely thrilling. Superman's team, I think personally, the team done by John Williams is actually pretty good, and also the team in Superman, the animated series also is good. In this, it's not Superman's is, but it's pretty good. I like what Hans Zimmer did with this his score and soundtrack in this movie. I like it. The characters are fine, they're good. The supporting characters that does make sense, and the love scene, the love scene between Lois Lane and Superman is. I didn't care for that love scene. It was like, they're just loving in love with each other, but where we don't have any chemistry, we don't have a scene where they talk with each other that much. It's pretty much very rushed. It felt in some scene it felt like it's rushed, and what I meant by that is in this movie it's the way each scene is done is pretty weird. What I meant by that is after like the opening sequence of where Superman basically as a baby he's basically sent on planet Earth, where the moment the ship is about to let go on planet Earth, we basically cut to that scene and go to a different scene where Superman is all grown up in a fisherman ship where he's I think he's doing a job because in this movie Superman does different job and it's every scene is different. Sometimes Superman is a young man. Sometimes Superman is a teenager. Sometimes Superman is a child. Sometimes Superman is all grown up in a different scene. It's like a flashback every single moment. In which I felt was weird. Like they could have done a story where Superman just is a little boy. Then he grown up. Then he's a teenager. Then he is uh don't I get that they're trying to show Superman in a different light of time what happened with him all this time, but I think it was a little inconsistent of basically showing different times when Superman grew up. But yeah, I get that what they're trying to do, and I don't have a problem with that. I think it's a little inconsistent. Then we also have Another thing I want to mention is Superman. There's actually a lot of plot points I want to talk about here. So please don't worry, it's just a few plot points. So okay, this is one thing I want to talk about. In this movie, actually, what happened is when Superman is like a teenager, he's going to school on the bus. Basically, what happened? A bully is basically do what bullies do in the movie. They bully him. So suddenly, what happened? The bus that Superman is basically falls out of the bridge and fell straight into the water where it's drowning, obviously, and everybody's doomed. And then exact moment, Superman saves the bus, obviously, because despite being a kid, obviously he has superhuman strength. He lifts the bus, and obviously there's a girl in the bus that notices him, and obviously know that he has Superman. He did it. So what happened is after the scene is over, we show a scene of basically Jonathan Kent. He's basically there, and Superman is, and he's also there, and Jonathan Kent like, why did you do that? And he's like, what would I do? Like them not. And Jonathan Kent is like, maybe. And I'm like, are you serious? Your kid just saved literally many children in the bus, and you're saying just let them die. And yes, many people like taking that and said that, oh, why Superman's AI, Jonathan Kent is saying, well, let them die. I think personally that what they could have done in that scenario, instead of him saying maybe, just to say, I don't know, like, Clark, I don't know what to tell you. I care about you. Clark, I care about you. I know that you want to save people, and if I wasn't sure, obviously I would have done the same thing. It's just I care about you. It doesn't matter how strong you are. It doesn't matter how powerful you eventually became. You live in a world where when people don't understand something, they will eventually fear and they will want to hurt you. And I don't want that to happen to you, Clark. I care about you, and obviously I know that if you didn't save those children, obviously there will be always a burden to you, basically hunting you for the rest of your life. And I get that you could have done a similar dialogue as make it less shorter and more cooler, I think. But yeah, I think that scene could have been done a lot of ways. Another scene that I want to talk about is a scene, well, basically, Jonathan Kent pretty much will reveal basically to Clark that obviously he came from another, come from space, and obviously they show him a piece. It's basically a metal piece with Swarm's logo on it. It's basically the Codex, the plot device in this. And basically he tells them that obviously I took it to a different engineer and showed it, and they told me that this is not in the periodic table. It came from elsewhere. It came from it didn't came from this planet. And obviously he just took it back, and I was like, no. If anybody pretty much gets the object or anything that's not in this planet, obviously they're gonna call the police. They're gonna report it. They're like, when did you get this? And there will be some kind of controversy. But yeah, it wasn't that I was questioning, was like, how did they let you go? Like, I was like, oh well, they just didn't answer the question. Obviously, the movie itself is pretty good. The way they portray Superman's character is pretty good. There's action sequence in this movie. There's Superman flying in the air. The cinematography is pretty good. The third act itself gets actually the third act. Many people have talked about it a lot of time. The third obviously it basically becomes like traditionally Transformers movies. However, it would be a 30 minutes of a huge action sequence where everybody is flying in the air, and basically Superman is punching this guy down, and comes back. There's some missiles. There are people are fighting everywhere. There's rocket. There's explosion. There's buildings being destroyed. And despite how awesome it is looking at this kind of stuff, obviously many people say, wait a minute, why did Superman just took them out, guys out? And I get why people complain this, because obviously the main problem is how can you do in that scenario. If you're on Superman's shoes, obviously you can't do anything about it. These guys obviously are similar or more stronger than you are. Then they're obviously destroying everything in the site, and obviously you can just take them elsewhere, obviously, because eventually they'll come back. And obviously it was a huge, many people said, obviously that's why I wouldn't let that many people die. And obviously you have to understand, you're in a scenario where you can't do anything about it. Try as you might, take these guys to different places, eventually they'll come back, and obviously they're stronger. They will know what you're trying to do. And yes, the third act basically become a huge action sequence with Superman and Zod and his army fighting. It is pretty cool to look at the way Superman punches a guy to a building, and obviously they fight back. They're flying in the air, buildings being destroyed, and obviously the way the movie shot, the way it showed, obviously millions of people obviously are dying in this movie. Obviously we don't see that when Canada died. It's pretty much not shown, but yeah, you have to imply if a city is being destroyed where millions of people live, obviously, always people will die. So and okay, now the part I actually have to talk about in this movie is pretty much the reason many people have said they didn't like this movie. In the third act of the movie, we have, Superman and Zod pretty much fighting. And spoiler alert, this is actually a spoiler, and it's a plot I want to talk about. In the third act, we see what happened is General Zod is about to shoot some people with his laser, and Superman just grabs him, put him in a chokehold, and Superman's like, let him go, and he's like, never, and just he breaks his neck, and pretty much General Zod dies, and Superman screams, say no, and eventually people hated it because people are like, Superman has a code. He doesn't have to kill people. Why did you do anything about it? Superman doesn't kill. And I get what they're trying to do, but that's what cannibals do. Like, yes, the way the movie showed it's stupid. Like those people were just just standing in the corner, and obviously the laser is coming extremely uh, slower, and obviously they're running, they're just standing there, and obviously Superman is in a position where what can he do? He obviously has this man has super speed, obviously he can't just go there. Obviously that's in that example his laser would go super fast. The way I could have done that scene uh instead of the best way I think you could have someone kill Zod is do a scene of those people running away. General Zod shoots the laser at them, but Superman grabs General Zod by his neck and just lifts him, and the laser goes up to the corner of the building, and all the debris, large pieces of concrete falls on top of them, and majority of them get hurt pretty badly. Their ankles and legs get broken. They can't run anymore. They're trapped pretty much by the rubble and everything, the concrete. And General Zod is, obviously, he's trying to kill them with his laser. It's really going slow, and General Zod is like, "No, I'm gonna kill them." And Superman is trying to stop them, and then he's realized there's no other way he can do anything about it. He tries to, take General Zod up in the air, trying to lift him. But Zod is extremely strong. He's pretty much holding his ground. In that moment, if he kills them, that makes sense because Superman, when he screams, when he gets sad, when he cries, it makes sense because Superman obviously initially saved some people, and it felt sad, it felt genuine because Superman didn't have any option in this movie. So I think that's how I would have done. The way they did in the movie, it felt really forced and stupid. It made uh, that scene less powerful than it's supposed to be. I didn't get what they're trying to do. Make a scene of when Superman kills the guy, person that he didn't want to, and it makes it powerful because Superman, at the end of the day, he's still human. He's still learning, and by killing Zod, it makes Zod win because Superman breaks a rule that he already has. He doesn't want to hurt people, but eventually it happened. He eventually killed a person, and that's making the scene stronger. But the way they did it, that I didn't agree with. And obviously, after that scene, obviously we have it was a pretty funny scene in this movie actually. After that scene, what happened is the satellite is being taken down by Superman, and some military guys said like that was $1 million or $1 million of hardware you just destroyed. It was like it was. I actually laughed at that. Like, oh, that's funny. And then there was a woman that looked at Superman after Superman, flies out of the air. He's like, I can't find a part. And yeah, that was a little funny. I like it. At least there was a side humor, but yeah, it wasn't that. It wasn't that funny, but I liked it. At least finally we got humor in this movie, and overall I like Man of Steel, guys. I think personally it's a great movie. It's not perfect, obviously. It has its flaws, and it's just I'm meaning way too generous on this movie. And obviously the movie is not 100% a good portrayal of Superman. In a way, it has its flaws. I think personally this movie could have done a lot better with the way they portray Superman in this movie. I think he was a little bit boring. I think they could have expanded it a lot more. I think they could have developed the chemistry between Lois Lane and Superman a lot. Michael Shannon, he could have given him a more better screen time. But overall, the movie was pretty good to me. If I have to give this movie a rating, the best rating I would personally give this movie is 1 out of 10. I would give it a 7. Now, hear me out. The reason I give this movie a 7 is here's the reason. The casting choice in this movie were pretty good. The cinematography pretty brilliant, but pretty brilliant by Hans Zimmer in this movie. The movies portrayal of Superman wasn't accurate, but it was pretty good, on point. Everybody acting was pretty good. Henry Cavill wasn't perfect, but I like him in this movie. The action sequence in the third act, as crazy as it seemed, I like it. Of how, at least they had a good action sequence, because we have not seen Superman like in this kind of action sequence in live action, and this was pretty awesome. And obviously, you can make a statement that obviously Superman can't save everybody in this planet, and eventually, he at least stopped a threat. Obviously, you can't just say, and General Zod to the Phantom Zone, and because he escaped the first time, he will eventually escape the second time, obviously. And yeah, that is just me, guys. Personally, I think the movie was pretty good. I like this, and yeah, that's just my opinion, guys. And please, guys, don't take this seriously. If I have spoiled some scenes in this review for you, please don't get angry. It's just me. I already told you about it. I'm gonna be talking about some time, but there's a lot of more plot points in this movie that I'm not gonna talk about it. But personally, yeah, that's just my opinion, guys. So yeah, guys, please make sure to like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel for more great content. And this was my review on Man of Steel. And yeah, guys, see you soon. And please comment please comment on the comment section and tell me what movie to review next. So bye, guys. See you soon.